I'm the UK's number one motivational business speaker.
How does anyone even know whether they're the number one motivational speaker? I mean, how do you work it out?
The UK's number one motivational business speaker. It's a term that never existed until I made it up.
What is it like to be on benefits?
You don't realise you're on benefits.
You don't realise?
No, you don't until you come out the other end and go, ooh. You know, I've done 4 years on benefits. I've been addicted to drugs twice. I got shot at 21. I delivered pizza at 31. Am I that guy with no qualifications? Or am I the guy who's written 4 books, who started a business, 25 grand in debt and built up a multi-million pound business, come from council estates, living above a chipper on a masonette, to then getting a 5-bedroom house in Somerset, detached, no neighbours. And it's like, how much is enough? You look at the country right now. You go back 20 years ago and look at the difference between 20 years ago and now.
It's got bad or it's got worse?
As a country, we are at war. I don't see how it's going to change. I just see it going worse and worse and worse. And I'm Mr. Positive. This is what I do. But I'm looking at a way through this for the mass populace, and I don't see it.
This week, I meet the UK's number one motivational speaker, a claim he admits he may have totally made up. Like most Brits, I find the idea of motivational speakers really cringeworthy, but Brad has a lot of points to make and he makes them well. He thinks that we are coming at business all wrong. We need to get the belief factor right before we do anything. The country, not just business, suffers from a lack of optimism, which is what ultimately is holding us back. I think that's very true. Plus, how phones are ruining modern life. And when you boil it down, not every moment needs to be important or meaningful. We also talked about crisps, Maltesers, and wizards. I didn't really get the bit about wizards, but you might. And I'll also be sharing my key takeaways from my chat throughout the show. Hello and welcome to Business Without Bullshit. I am Andy Ory and today we are joined by Brad Burton. Brad is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, and the UK's number one motivational business speaker. From dead-end jobs, near bankruptcy, to building the UK's largest business networking group, Brad's journey is all about resilience, reinvention, and raw honesty. He's been shot at, hit rock bottom, and bounced back stronger, proving that success isn't about where you start, but how you adapt. Brad, welcome to the podcast.
Andy, thank you so much. There's a couple of things there that need to be changed or adapted. I started and I built the largest joined up business network in the UK. And then the other thing about that is I did, prior to the pandemic, wiping us out. Because, you know, when you run 500 networking meetings across the UK every single month and the pandemic and Boris Johnson says, please stay at home, that's exactly what we had to do. So it wiped me out.
Wow. And joined up, what do you mean by joined up?
So my network was called For Networking, and it allowed you to go to any networking meeting. So you could join in Manchester, that would allow you to go to Cornwall, Scotland, Leeds. And that was the only network in the land that allowed you to do that. So we used to run, like I say, 200 meetings every single fortnight, anywhere. And you could network 3 times a day if you wanted to, morning, breakfast and evening. What's
behind this? What's this, I for the British listener, I always find there's that whole sort of motivational events and stuff, and it's quite an American thing. You know, Brits aren't very good at clapping along and getting excited.
That's right.
Sort of, but what drives you? Where's this coming from?
To make a positive difference. To make a positive difference. Fundamentally, at its core, I was a one-man band. I used to run my own marketing firm and I needed to belong. And it's a very lonely place out there, being a small business. You kind of got to find your community, and we're social animals and we need to belong. And that's what I did. I started my network off to do that. And as I would be speaking at these events, these 4 networking events up and down the land, I realized something, that people would say to me, oh, you're so motivational, you're so inspirational. And I'd get that over and over and over again. And at some point I thought, how do you become a motivational speaker? Just make a website and say you're a motivational speaker. And that's exactly what I did. And then people were booking me and it just kind of took light. And I've been doing it now for 15 years.
Okay. If I may use that terrible comparison still, but, in America, it's all about the American dream, and everybody's sort of, they all see themselves as a character in their story. I mean, I was just in America again recently, which I love, but it's like, what I noticed, there were three of us there as Brits. It's like, and we were in Colorado for the sake of people wondering where. But if someone's a bit into something, they go all in, like how they dress and they live their life. They get their Harley, or they're all in pink and they're wandering around with this guy on the train we were on was just like, he was just in like this giant fur. I mean, I can't quite describe it, but it was obviously like a thing for him.
Welcome to America.
And then I kept then looking at the us, and we were very much within this quite narrow band of acceptability, isn't it? Quite sort of toned down, maybe we've got a little something on us to show we like hip hop or something, but, very subtle, and it's all in that subtlety. And I find, to get British people definitely want to be motivated and stuff like that. But, I don't know whether they're thinking about the dream, are they?
So I think from where I come at it is the British version of that, right? And right at the envelope, pushing the envelope on that front in terms of its mindset. Fundamentally, it's core, it's mindset. It's mindset, it's energy. If you had low energy, you and I are doing this podcast now. If you'd been out to the West End till 4 o'clock in the morning and it's now 9 o'clock and you and I are doing this, it's unlikely to yield a positive result. So that, I think, principally shows that energy has an impact. Belief has an impact. So if you have energy and you have belief and you have motivation, then the likelihood is that your business is going to be better for it. So if you think about all your team, your staff, if you used to lower their energy, if you used to demotivate them, then the impact that it would have on your business. So I think we've been coming at business growth from the wrong perspective. We need more sales. I think you need more belief. If you get the belief right, you get the sales right, rather than if you get the sales right, you get the belief right. So it's got to start somewhere, wherever you start. And I'm living proof of this. I've turned my life around. The guy that sits before you now is a different guy to the one that was 20 years ago. And we can all change. And that's what a motivational speaker is about. It's about how many motivational speakers does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb's going to want to change.
I haven't heard that joke. And did you come from a sort of positive family, or people in?
Look, I think it's fair to say I'm from Salford, Manchester. So probably the best way to describe it for your viewers is Coronation Street. That's where I was kind of brought up on Coronation Street. So my life, I've got no real sub story. I've been in the earlier parts of my life. My dad left when I was 6 months old. My mum brought.
Tough.
Well, it is, but you know what? You adapt. It's a bit like saying to a fish, "What's the water like?" And the fish says, "What walking water?"
Yeah.
The reality is you don't know any different. So I had a good upbringing, if I'm really honest. However, with any life, you're going to get ups and you're going to get downs.
Why did you move home so many times?
Well, we were a single parent. My mum and I moved 14 times from the age of 8 to 14. 14 times we moved, just through circumstances, and every single time my mum would say, "Hey, we don't really need to move anymore." And on occasion, for whatever reason, we moved. And, look, it is what it is, and I wouldn't change a single thing about my background. Nothing.
Was there a moment or something, if you're saying you were different before, if I met the old Brad, would the old Brad be kind of pessimistic about things and there was a sort of shining light moment that changed you?
Yeah, I think I've always been positive. Surface level positive, always.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So when you're saying, so you have always, because you kind of got to be a person, half glass full person.
No question. And I think that there's two ways that you can be in life. You can either be positive or you can be negative. That's the reality of it. Why would anyone choose to be negative? Like, they wouldn't. But somewhere along the way, they can't let go of the past, or they can't let go of things or something that's going on. And I describe this as a bit like having a hot coal. It's like holding on to that hot coal, what they did, or, we lost a deal or whatever it be. At some point, you've got to let go. And I think that that's really when my life changed, when I realized that actually the life that I wanted for my family and my future was never going to happen unless I could let go of the past.
Yeah, it's tricky holding on to the past. Are we supposed to live in the present? What are we supposed to do?
Let me ask you this. I want you to rewind to a time in your life when if you'd have made a different decision, your life would have been fundamentally different. Maybe it was a job, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a decision, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can't rewind. And too often in life, where people end up stuck is they're trying to go back to a time and a place that no longer exists. And when we think about the past, I think we have a tendency to get depressed. And when we think about the future, we have a tendency to be anxious. So you can't rewind, you can't fast forward. All you can do is press play on today. And I think fundamentally at its core, it's this moment where you and I are speaking, everything's good. Outside of that, we might have problems in the past or in the future. So if we can stay within this moment and not waste a single moment, that's what I kind of eulogize and I steer people towards.
Yeah, my wife said it casually when my sister's dying. Yeah, there's no past, there's no future, there's only now. And I don't remember saying that, but I keep thinking, yeah, that's a simple way of saying it.
But that's all life is it now, and now, and now, and now, and now, and now. And my life is better for me living in that way.
Yeah. Sometimes easier said than done, although
of course
as someone with my mindset, I always feel like I am living in the now and it's just not moving fast enough. But
where are you going and what and why? Where's the rush? Because the future that you live right now, the current, that was the future that you once wanted.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, when I mean it, it's from a very sort of ADHD. It's like I'm very I feel very present. Like when we used to read about it, I'm like fuck, I'm in the present. That's I just want everyone else to move faster with this present.
So
you know what I mean?
I'm ADHD. I've been diagnosed.
Yeah.
Right? No question about it. Let me explain something. Where are you rushing to and why? And this is the bit that's been a realization for me. I'm 51, 52 next week, right? I have recognized. We're almost like with life, we almost got like a remote control and we're fast forwarding, trying to get to the good bits. And then one day you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to wish that you could have rewind and actually lived those boring bits, which actually is called life. Somewhere along the way, this absolutely. Is a modern affliction of modern life, that every single moment has to be filled with something. And if it's not filled with something, we fill it with something, right? And actually, what are we trying to avoid?
Well, the most boring moments are often the important ones, really, aren't they? I mean, yeah, for sure. I relate to what you're saying. I guess for me, you live in your moment, but I don't know if personally I'm trying to get anywhere. I'm just trying to make more to that point. I want to make it as interesting as possible. So it's kind of like living in the, get the energy going, almost like, let's fucking have a laugh, but you're absolutely right. Peace is really nice, but I thrive off chaos.
So likewise, I used to be addicted to the fight, right? I would love having a challenge and I would fix it. Superhero syndrome, right? And there's a danger of that is when you're addicted to the fight, if you've not got a problem, you make one. And I've realized, very similar to you in a lot of respects, and I think what happened to me, if I think about the pandemic came along, Boris Johnson, please stay at home, March the 20th, not that I'm counting, but March the 20th, 2020, my entire world was turned upside down. My normal of running a national organisation and having 15 staff and this, that and the other had changed instantly through no fault of my own. And then I remember just wanting peace. And yet I'd been striving for a fight and I'd got the biggest fight of my life. And actually I didn't want to fight anymore.
You just wanted peace in terms of the situation or just,
mental peace. Because actually, because it's all fun and games, having fights or having interest and excitement until it goes wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the battle to stay in the moment is an interesting one for all of us, particularly with the phone, because the phone is just a very strange device to come in our life.
Insidious. Yeah. Let me explain something. You have a life that you've got to balance. Your business, your home life, your physical, body, physical world, your emotional world, your spiritual world. And now we've thrown on another world called digital world that didn't exist 20 years ago. So now not only have you got 5 worlds that you're trying to balance, you're now throwing a 6 on there. Something has to give. And this is why I believe the affliction that we've got in modern society, these are insidious. And I think we've been domesticated by our devices.
Yeah, and it's curious. I've been having a particularly bad customer experience recently, but then it started a lot of conversation whenever I've just been joking about it, and other people keep talking. The way people respond is basically, when did it become the point that nobody knows anything about anything? Every shop, no one knows anything about anything because we can Google it, mate. It's like we don't know where around London because of GPS, or we don't know the phone numbers. But actually, it's deeper than that. It's like, and I wonder whether we're even retaining the information anymore.
Back in the olden days. A child of 1973, if I wanted to know about World War II, I'd go speak to Grandad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or down the library.
Right. And we don't do that. So what we don't bother going to the library anymore. So therefore,
Encyclopedia Britannica upstairs.
The good old days.
Dad would disappear. That's it. I'll be back.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. This is how you cut up frogs. But you look at that whole thing there, and it's like we don't have that. So what happens is you don't get off your ass. You don't go to the library anymore. Therefore, the libraries are now not a thing. They've kind of fell away. Everyone uses the device, and they get whatever the first output of Google or ChatGPT is. That's your history. So grandpa no longer has the conversation. He's been disconnected because the kids are now on the phone. We're in danger zone.
Is that what you? There's a book on the table. Do hold it up. Get off your ass.
That's my first one.
That's your first one. Is that what that's about?
No, that was about the reality of what it's like to start a business off. Which is low sales, no sales, depression, a whinging wife. I think when you start a business off, it's all, we're going to have glass-fronted offices and we're going to have a 5 Series BMW. But the reality is, in my case, it was down the back of the sofas looking for 2s and 1s.
Yeah, I think the glamour of business, even in any industry. But let's keep it. So for sure, I mean, get the energy right in your business and get the belief right, as you put it. I mean, what are your tips then to get the belief right? Is there a methodology to how you can do it?
Absolutely. Something I do called Leader Maker. What I do is I'm a big computer gamer, massive computer.
Oh, right.
Are you a gamer?
No, although I do work for a few video games company.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I'm a gamer. So when I'm playing a computer game, I'm a level 1 wizard. You're a level 20 dragon. I've got no chance of defeating you, right?
Yeah.
So I can throw a couple of magic missiles, then need to sleep because I've got no mana left. What's the difference between a level 1 wizard and a level 20 wizard?
No idea.
Fights.
Okay.
Fights, battles, and experience. And every time that we have a battle, every time we have a battle, we pick up experience, we pick up treasure. And every single time of these treasure, which are not pleasant, these fights, but every single time it levels you up. That's what I do. I look at individuals when I work with senior leadership teams. I look at the individuals and I say, right, what have we got to do in order for you to be the best version of you? There's 2 versions of you, Andy. There's a good version and there's a not so good version. How do we lean into that best version of you? And I have systems and processes that are proven, 100% proven, it's not bullshit, 100% proven to work. And I'll tell you how I know they work, because I changed who I was. I've done 4 years on benefits, I've been addicted to drugs twice, I got shot at 21, I delivered pizza at 31. Am I that guy with no qualifications, or am I the guy who's written 4 books, who started a business 25 grand in debt and built up a multi-million pound business? I'm at a guy that speaks at the highest level as a motivational speaker. What changed? I did. And that same system that I use for me, I use for the people.
How's it proven? How do you prove it?
I can track. I don't think I've probably got one in there. I could show you, but I can track you, so I could see all the elements. So if you think about a car, you've got a car, and you take it for an MOT, and what happens is the tires, they're advisory. You need to change them. Your windscreen wiper needs replacing. Your bodywork is a pass. I've got the same system. I've got 10 key things that we evaluate. So how happy are you? How motivated are you? And we go through it. So you say, I'm a fail. So out of the 10 criteria, family, health, finances, and so forth, you go, I'm 2 passes, 4 50-50s, and 4 fails. And then I actively work on them, say, right, what do we have to do specifically in order to get those 4 to a pass or to a 50-50? And we methodically work through, because it's all about mindset. If you don't fundamentally believe, 100% believe in fixing, you've got no chance. So I work with that. So effectively, in a lot of respects, I'm almost like a technician going in there and kind of fixing mindset.
Yeah. You don't 100% believe in fixing yourself, you're saying, or fixing your belief?
If you don't 100% believe in you, you're not going to convince anyone else.
Yeah.
So first things first, if I said to you, I'm almost misguided my self-belief, right?
Yeah.
But if I didn't 100% believe in my products, my services, and things that I offer, don't get upset when other people don't 100% believe in it either.
Belief is quite a hard thing to do, especially, again, equating it with a sense of being humble as a Brit. Like it's sort of hard for you to express. I mean, I've talked about this before, but, Americans are very good at sort of saying I'm great at something. But as a British person, I can't say whether I'm good at something. Someone else has to say that, because how do I know? You know. So you can tell me this all day long. You know what you're good at. You know what you're good at, because let's be quite clear, this would never have happened if you wasn't good at something. So therefore, However, what's happened is you've allowed the Brit Moat, that is the British Moat, to step in and go, I don't really know anything. I'm bullshit. The British Moat you describe it as, do you think what sort of the British Moat is, what does it mean to you?
Well, I think someone needs to go first. If you run a race with 100 people, someone's going to come first, someone's going to come last. Why not you? Why not you can't come first? And this is the bit, so this Moat, I could terribly British. One of the things I realised, right, is that how did I become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker? I just made a fucking website and said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And the first person you have to convince of your brilliance is you. If I said to you, I am the greatest, which box am I referring to? Muhammad Ali. The reason we refer to Muhammad Ali 50 years on as the greatest is because he referred to himself. So unless you can somewhere along the way flip this, what changed? I'm 51 now. What changed at 31? I did. I started on this process and then it suddenly went from there to there. It didn't work like that. But it was the steps and you can't skip the steps. And that's what I've done.
It's funny though, when you were talking about belief, I was thinking it's hard in a business. People don't give that much of a shit about the business. I mean, they give a bit, but if it's not theirs, there's a funny balance to get right on sort of, some people just want to do their job decently and go home.
And I think, what I would say to people, and, obviously the book Get Off Your Ass was the Bible for starting a business off, is that being employed is a bit like being self-employed. You've got one client, your boss. And if your boss no longer wants your services, that's you gone. And we kid ourselves that there's security and you know where you stand. You don't know where you stand.
I don't know. Employment law is pretty protective once you've had 2 years.
Well, you get $8,000, and that's you on your toes again. So it's not, I don't know. Once again, I think the pandemic has kind of shook everything up. It's almost like a snow globe. And I don't think that, I think the world is still punch drunk. I think the world's still punch drunk, working from home, all very romantic until you realise that actually you're now going box room isolation and not everyone's cut out for that.
Yeah. And what is the culture of the business? You think people should be in an office all the time or?
No, look, I am a one-man band now. I don't have an office anymore. And I would have probably encouraged my staff to be there for them. And look, that first pandemic when everyone was furloughed, drinking, summer fruit cider in the garden, great. But, after you start protracted and you start spending 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you start getting disconnected and the walls start closing in. And I think that, we can think about the romantic side of it, but I do believe I think it's problematic. So look, it's on a case-by-case basis. It's not for me to say, and I'm no authority on this. I'm not the guy who has to, has to work from home, but I choose to as a one-man band.
It was also interesting when you're saying, look, I had to believe that I'm the number one motivational speaker. How does anyone even know whether they're the number one motivational speaker?
Correct.
I mean, how do you work it out?
No, we don't. This is just made up, completely made up. I did it on purpose, and this is the point I'm making.
Right.
Is it sounds like it's always existed. The UK's number one motivational business speaker. It's a term that never existed until I made it up.
Right.
So if you go on Google right now and type in the UK's number one, you'll find me. That's all you'll find. So what happened is it was a bit like a £20 note. If you and I see a £20 note in a nightclub, say, Andy, pick that up. You go, you pick it up. You're nearer. And as we're talking about it, Dee comes along and picks a 20 quid note. And now we're recriminating. Well, you should have picked up, you saw it first. I saw an opportunity. I don't even use that term anymore, right? I genuinely, I've stopped using it. This is the first time I've used it.
Yeah.
I've moved to Motivational Leader as a brand. But the point is, it served me beautifully. But there's no league table of motivational business speakers. So therefore,
I think like a lot of people, every time you go to America, you come back and think, God, I need to be more positive and like we can do stuff and things like this. There's some funny bits of it. I mean, we're very self-deprecating. We have hilarious humor. And as I say, I really noticed how we live within a band. Like we live within how we dressed and how we acted was all within a bit. And then one of the people I was with saying, yeah, and the thing is with British people, they'll give you little hints and about maybe what they're really into or what they're good at. And because it's all understated, but there's a world under there. Do you know what I mean? And that's quite nice as well.
So I run a business networking organization. Okay, so in total, I've run 68,000 business networking meetings in the UK.
Jesus Christ!
68,000 over a 16-year period. So my job in my 4 networking, we had 3 10-minute one-to-ones. So you'd have 3 10-minute appointments, 20 people in the room. You choose 3, you swap a 1 for a 1, a 2 for a 2, a 3 for a 3, and then you'd have 10 minutes with them in group time. So I've had 4,500 10-minute appointments with small business owners. I'm probably the person in the UK that's had more sit downs with people. And the opening question that I would say is anything specific, Andy, or just a catch up? That would be my opening gambit. And it would enable then to open that conversation. So I understand people. I understand what you've just said, which is this ability to be, okay, what's the hook here? What's the angle to speak to a person that enables you to get some kind of connection? So yes, 100%.
Out of all of this, obviously, it's been quite a journey between sort of where you were and where you are now. I mean, where are you trying to get to?
I'm not anymore.
No.
I'm not anymore.
That's the piece.
It's funny. I've had my daft car, got my daft house.
What was your daft car? What car?
A BMW i8, right?
Oh, nice.
So, a daft car.
Have you got rid of it? No.
Oh, gone. Yeah, all gone. So I use my wife's 12, 13, 14-year-old X-Trail now. So I'm no longer competing there. I'm no longer having to work and earn money to fund that lifestyle. It's because, so it's a really interesting one. I've reached that point in my life, that come from council estates, living above a chippy on a masonette, to then getting a 5-bedroom house in Somerset, detached, no neighbours. And it's like, how much is enough? And I think what we end up doing, and people don't know where enough is, and that I wanted a 10-bedroom mansion. I had this mind's eye version of a 10-bedroom mansion with twin staircases. And if I'd have realised my dream, currently I've got a 5-bedroom house and there's one room that I don't go in. But my point is that if I would have realised my dream of a 10-bedroom mansion, guess what? I'd have 6 fucking rooms I don't go in. And we end up chasing this stuff because we believe that society, you get a 40-inch television, now you need a 60, now you want an 80, now you want 100, now you want 100 curves, now you want yourself a home cinema system, it's got to be a 10-foot, and now you need when does it end? And I think that this is a bit about humanity and humans, and this is a message, is that whatever you're chasing is right here. And that doesn't mean don't be ambitious, don't be driven, but if your ambition and your drive is causing you to be unhappy, that you need to move from here to there, when you get there, you're still going to be exactly the same.
If you assume that it's going to bring you happiness, I guess.
But I think, but why are we doing it? Why, so if you think about a mansion, for the sake of this conversation, right? You have, you've got a bowling alley, you've got an arcade. Why? What is that about that? Is it so that when neighbours come around, you can show them at a dinner party? What are we doing this for? Now, the reason I know this is because when I got my car, I remember parking outside the pub once and going to the glove compartment to get something that I didn't need so that people can see me going in and it's like, what is going on? And I think that is what's gone wrong with society. I think we've become so obsessed with what other people think about us.
Even though they're not thinking about us at all.
And we need to just think about ourselves. That's what we need to do. We need to stop worrying about what other people are doing. There's a reason that racehorses wear blinkers. They don't give a toss about the competition. Focus on you. Focus on your life and ask yourself, what will make me happy? What will make me fundamentally at my core happy? And actually, if having a 10-bedroom mansion is what you believe it is, cool. And when you get your 10-bedroom mansion, then what? Is that you done? Are you happy? Or are you then 3 months later going, I need to get a bowling alley?
Do you find this word happy a bit loaded? Like, it's a pretty transient state, happiness, I mean, I don't know, maybe content's a better word, okay. Maybe. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm being semantic about it because we throw around the word happy constantly.
And you can never be happy consistently, ever. Mountaineers don't stay at the top of mountains. And I can tell you right now is that no matter how happy you are today, one day you're not going to be. And it's like, goes back down to that, what I said, which is when you're happy now, be happy now. When you're upset or sad now, be upset and sad now. But just be aware that when things are good, things are good. You look at the country right now. You go back 20 years ago and look at the difference between 20 years ago and now.
It's got bad or it's got worse?
Oh, come on. It got worse.
I mean, it depends. I mean, society moves forward. What metric, what are we looking at? We're looking at our country.
I think so.
Okay, and we're talking about disparity of wealth then. Absolutely. Probably, or something.
We're talking about disparity of wealth, and we're talking about overall, I think, contentment. Contentment is devoid of people. People are, look, when the pandemic came, my business was thousands of micro and small businesses. That was my business. Members were that. That whole swathe of business has been wiped out, right? They knocked them over because there was always precarious, hand to mouth, 3 months worth of money. Once that's gone, they're wiped out. So there's this kind of grassroots now of business that is trying to rebuild and doesn't really have an option, have the opportunity that it once did. You look at some of the big organizations, right? Your Apple, your Starbucks and so forth, right? And Amazon. These are like heat sinks taking everything away. And we're all guilty of it. Oh, look at the high street. The high street's empty. Oh, the high street's empty. One click. Tick, tick, tick. 7 hours later, something arrives. We're all guilty of it. We are turkeys voting for Christmas. And I don't see how it's going to change. I don't see how it's going to change. I just see it going worse and worse and worse. And I'm Mr. Positive. This is what I do. But I'm looking at a way through this for the mass populace, and I don't see it.
And let's be a bit more specific, because I think you have to be a bit more specific because things are changing. Or there's better. The NHS may be in more of a mess, which my wife would agree. But there's more medicine now, or there's more this now.
But there's more illness now.
Yeah, well, is the more illness. There are more illnesses, yeah.
Okay, well, there's more bad diets.
No, I think you're right. There is more illness
right? And there's more overweight. I was 5
But
stone
there's also
heavier.
more hypochondria, you know.
Absolutely. And actually, I've got fibromyalgia, so I can't go work. So there's all these things that didn't exist. You've got ADHD, I've got ADHD, my son's got ADHD, he's been diagnosed with it, right? He gets £400 a month for having ADHD. It's like, I've lived 51 years of this world. I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm saying it's different. And you know, for people to be able to get ahead right now, right? I have lived hand to mouth, right? I've lived on benefits. So I know more than most people, right, what it's like to be there. I've also had a multi-million-pound business. Do you see what I'm saying?
What is it like to be on benefits?
You don't realise you're on benefits.
You don't realise?
No, you don't until you come out the other end and go, ooh. Because, you know, you borrow a cup of sugar, you have 3 days with no food, and you're having margarine and spaghetti, 12 pence spaghetti. So you don't realise at the time. But when I look at how I'm an anomaly in terms of breaking through from council estates. It's like I didn't realise I was an anomaly until people said, you're an anomaly. Okay.
Oh, that you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps kind of thing.
Because nobody I didn't get any grants or loans or, you know. So I did well. And I think that from my perspective, I think when you look at the opportunity that presents itself, I think education is a mess. I think education is a mess in that, you know, I don't have a qualification to my name, but what they should be doing is, remember I talked to you about that system that I use. If you integrated that into kids from an early age, to start looking at the health, where's my health? Is it a pass? Is it 50-50? Is it fail? Is my mental health good? All these kind of criteria, that's what we need to be doing right now. If you want to change society, it's a 10-year run at this thing. But I don't think there's any hunger for changing society. So therefore, we have this whole thing where there's this disparity and it's only going to go bigger. And I don't see a change.
There's a hunger from you, there's a hunger from lots of people to change lots of things in society. It's just really hard to change a oil tanker.
So I know people who are on benefits. It doesn't make financial sense for them to go and get a job.
Yeah.
So they work 40 hours for an extra tenner. So why would you do that? So therefore you stay in this trap, this benefits trap.
Yeah, there's a few of those about not wanting to earn more than certain limits, either X happens or Y happens. So what do you think they should, isn't benefits a sort of, it's just a solution to a difficult problem, isn't it? They should design it differently, should they?
So I did 4 years on benefits, 2 years, 18 months and 6 months. You'd have got me off my arse if you'd have said, in the event that you've not got a job in 6 months, you're going to be whitewashing or you're going to be doing civic duty, picking up litter around a village or a council estate.
Yeah. They do that a bit in Germany. My friend's sister's struggles with alcohol and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, she can collect her benefit, her dole, whatever you want to call it, but she has to work in these places.
And go some way to actually start encouraging some civic duty. Now, that's not about slave labour, far from it, but they also need to do something to enable people to get jobs. And you look at the way that the national insurance contributions and stuff at the moment, it's not encouraging. I am a one-man band now. I'm a one-man band. I had 15 staff at one point. I have one-man band. And guess what? It's encouraging for me to use subcontractors.
Yeah, or hire overseas. No, I mean
both.
Actually, we had Alex on the podcast recently. Knows Rachel Reeves well, and she cheered me up a bit because she said, "Look, I'm with you 100% on all. They're doing a lot of things which are upsetting entrepreneurs." But she did defend her a lot and say, she's tough, she's listening, and she look at what she's trying to do to regulation. I mean, it's true. If I read some of that, build the frickin' third runway at Heathrow. I mean, I can't believe we're still talking about it. And I'm glad she's saying what I've been thinking for ages is they say, oh, but pollution and whatever. And it's like, yeah, but we're circling Heathrow for 5 hours to land. I mean, we just got to get on with these things. But there's a real tension there between the sustainability, or there's always this, there's always two sides to it, isn't it?
But this is the thing, everything's 52-48% now. Everything, the Brexit syndrome, everything is 52-48%. And this is as a country, we are at war with ourselves. And it's like, we need unity. And I think if I look at Blair, okay, history hasn't been good for him, but within 9 days of Tony Blair getting in, I'd got a job. I've come from long-term unemployment and things could only get better. And there was a real euphoria.
Well, it was optimism.
Optimism.
There's a lack of optimism. They've been buggering that up in the government, really, haven't they?
Oh.
I can't stand, bless Alex, and I'm sure Rachel Reeves is a lovely person or whatever. But yeah, I really don't like the whole, it's their fault. It's their fault. You feel like you're 12. I just had one of those phone calls yesterday when this this people have been winding me up with going on about, oh, but you did this. And I'm like, are we seriously getting into exactly who did what wrong when? I mean, who cares? Let's move forward.
So I believe that an expert is someone that's made all the mistakes in a particular niche field, right? So therefore, in politics, when somebody makes a mistake, get them out. So they never learn, right? We never learn. We're just so provocative. Look, I think this is a bigger conversation, and I mean that, right? Is that we're going to tangent on about politics. However, I think we're in danger zone right now because us, everyone needs hope. And this is what my job, I believe, my purpose is to give people hope, to be better, to be better. I am living proof that you can turn your life around. And the way you turn your life around is by turning your mindset around. We have been coming at this from the wrong perspective. You want to fix this country. Let's start fixing the mindsets of the people in and around. Start giving them hope, start giving them belief, start giving them optimism. Because at the moment, that dial is right down.
Well, it's what America's very good at, isn't it? And actually, whether you like or hate Trump, you know, he has a sort of optimism, whether you like or hate Boris, you know, there's a kind of optimism to them that we actually quite liked, of sort of like, oh, this, you know, it's something, let's do something.
I had somebody say to me, you know, your style's not for everyone, Brad. And I said to them, tell me one person in the history of humanity whose style is for everyone, I'll wait. And I said, this is a problem. The point is that we are so worried about what other people think that we don't do. And actually, I've had to, over the years, turn down the volume on those people that tell me I've got it wrong. Critics.
Well, you can do that if you've got a strong sense of belief. Certainly the fear of what other people are thinking or saying is a huge factor in people's lives. And that great phrase that I said before about, well, don't worry about what other people are thinking because they're not thinking about you at all.
True story.
People are thinking about themselves.
You know, when I started my business off, nobody gave me a belief. Nobody. My wife didn't want me to do it. She said, don't do it. You know, and I had like well-meaning people saying, "Oh yeah, you know, you go and get a proper job. You know where you stand." If I wouldn't have ignored every bit of advice, I wouldn't be sat here now. So you've got to have your kind of North Star and know where you're going and why you're doing it.
Your moment now in life is that you feel you want to have peace, or you want to not be chasing something, and then you're now seeking something deeper spiritually.
Not necessarily. I'm about helping other people find their purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can do that because I think, once again, think about my life, think about what I've been through, think about the network with 4,500 one-to-ones, meeting business owners, think about me losing £1 million plus business with the pandemic and getting myself open and no qualifications in my background. It's interesting. There's a kid that did a Venn diagram. He said an entrepreneur circle. Salford Street kid, and you're right in the middle, and it's like that's such a unique skill set. And also you're charismatic, and you're a presenter and a speaker on stage, you know, thousands of people. So you bring that together, and it's something pretty. I can unite tribes. So whether I've got clients that are billion-dollar businesses, and I've got people that are startups, and I also go into prisons to help it. So there's this strange messenger.
Well, you've been through a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know, experience gives you some wisdom to really help them. Do you find you focus on their
the individual to get the business right,
rather than you're focusing on how they're wired up rather than tell me about your business. You should cut your expenses.
No, I can do that. I can absolutely do that. But so for instance, there's a guy that I was working with, and you know, we're like 2 sessions in, and he said, "When are we going to talk about my business?" I said, "Well, you're fucked. So we can talk about your business if you want, or we can fix you. Then we can worry about the business. Tell me. I mean, I think we fix you first because you're the managing director. Let's fix you. Let's fix your home life. Then we can work on the business. Or if you really, really want, we can talk about your fucking business. What would you prefer?" And penny drops. He went, "Yeah, okay." So, you know, and this is what happens is that I think we once again trying to rush. You can't skip the steps. And I think I say to people, never be in a hurry to lose. Let's get you right. Then we can get the business right. And I think we've been coming at it from the wrong perspective. I need a business coach. No. You need to stop being so stressed out. How do we get your stress? Because people under stress don't make great decisions. So in order for you to make great decisions, fundamentally where you end up in your life and your business is down to your decisions. We need to stop being stressed. Then you can make the decisions that you need to make.
What do you think about work-life balance? You know, it's such a term now.
I was on work-life balance before it was a thing. right? And although saying that, there was times when I've kind of burnt myself out doing 14, 16-hour days consistently in pursuit of that success. Work-life balance is essential, but what I'd rather do with the way that I work, I'd rather do 4 hours at 100% than 8 hours pretending. Who is John? Hi, John. Yeah, just working on it, right? It's bollocks. They know it's bollocks, but it's the game that you play when you run a business.
Again, I'd say it's quite British, isn't it? The Germans turn up and get on with it. I don't know. Something about us is quite faffy,
Of course it is. But once you accept that humans are not robots, and you accept that people do switch off, and just because you pay someone 8 hours a day doesn't mean they work 8 hours a day.
No.
It doesn't, right? And it's this whole thing from my perspective. I look at, when I go to work with boards, I look at the directors and their focus is on profit and loss, headcounts. And I say, what about contentment? How content are the directors? How happy are the directors? And that's something that I do from a team building perspective. Completely left field. But you go, oh, sorry, that's not a question. It's not one of our metrics, our KPIs. But maybe if it was. Because you're coming in here and you've got your toes curled up because you can't fucking stand him and he doesn't like you. Why don't we have that conversation now? So actually, if you don't like each other, let's be brave enough to have that conversation. Or let's work out what the problems are. And I have the conversations that most people don't want to have.
Would you split them up individually at that point for because it's such a difference between individuals and groups? Let's say you walk in and it's let's talk about contentment and then it's clear the two of them don't get on. Would you split them up?
No, I would get them on the same page. There's something that I do called Team Maker, which I get people literally figuratively on the same page. So I recognize where we are joined. When we first started, let's say you and I are directors. When we first started, we had that day one enthusiasm. I was behind you was behind me, and we was together. And then somewhere along the way, we was out a little bit. And then over time, we've ended up here. How do we get back here? Do you want to get back here? Or are we done? And have that brave conversation. Because pebbles in shoes don't magic the way out. And if you don't deal with these things, they become bigger problems. I bought a house, and when I bought this house, my wife wanted a wood burner. And I genuinely had no idea what a wood burner is, right? The idea that you light a fire and don't run for insurance purposes. But anyway, we had this house, and in each of the corners of the room was a spider. And I said to the wife, someone said, spider, do you want me to get them out? She said, it's all right, I don't mind small spiders. I said, Kerry, where do you think the big ones come from? And every single individual, every single business has small spiders that they don't deal with. And that's what I do. I come in, I'm like a fixer, and I look at the small spiders and I deal with them. I get them out. And actually ask the individuals and the directors, senior leadership team, if we get these spiders out, will this company be worse or will it be better? It'll be better. Why aren't we getting the spiders out? And because nobody wants to get the small spider out.
It's because, I can imagine you doing it, and I can imagine one person saying, well, if you want to be really honest, that's because he never listens to my ideas. There'll be some sort of breakdown in respect, won't there?
Absolutely. So let's have it out.
Let's have it out.
So why won't we fix it? And it's not about having a punch up, but right now you're coming into this board meeting and you're not happy. It's quite clear you're not happy. And every day you go home and you bitch into your wife that you're not happy. So why don't we make you happy? Let's see if we can make you happy. And if that happiness means freeing up your future, then let's do it. Because this is not where we start.
Shine a light on it.
Right. And that's what I do. And I do it in a way that most normal people would never dream of doing, because I approach business without bullshit.
So any top tips for founders and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, recognise it's going to take 4 times longer than you think it is.
Yeah, which is they're hoping a week, isn't it?
Right. It's going to take you 4 times longer, and you've prepared. And the other thing is that, I've never had any investment, and whether I've done it wrong or not, I don't know. But if you're not prepared to put your own house on this, do you believe in it 100%? I think if you're not prepared to put your own house on it, you don't believe in it 100%. And if you don't believe in it 100%, don't get upset when other people don't either.
Yeah. Yeah, they can sense it almost.
Of course, we leak the truth.
Right then, let's boil my chat with Brad to my 5 key takeaways. Number 1, your business mirrors your mindset. Suffering from low energy, belief, or motivation, your business will reflect that. Shift your mindset first, then sales and success will follow. Number 2, you can't rewind or fast forward, only press play. Too many people dwell on the past or stress over the future. Brad's advice, focus on today and make every moment count. Number 3, being busy isn't the same as making progress. We rush through life, avoiding stillness, but where are we going? One day you'll wish you'd savor the moments you're now racing past. Number 4, convince yourself first. Brad didn't wait for approval. He called himself the UK's number 1 motivational business speaker, and people believed it, and it became true. So if you really think about it, confidence isn't arrogance, it's strategy. After all, you don't back yourself. Why should anyone else? Number 5, success has no shortcuts, only experience. Every setback and failure is an experience that levels you up. Brad built a multi-million-pound business by embracing the process, not looking for shortcuts. Finally, I mean, did you have any mentor in this, or is there any some of these ideas and things you've had? You've obviously had to pull yourself out of some difficult situations, but you got any heroes in this?
Oh, I've got lots of heroes. My biggest heroes are the people who are, somebody said to me, oh, who's your business idols? My business idols are those people who are holding down 3 jobs to keep a business. I've had mentors of various levels, whether it's, literally a conversation I had with someone for 10 minutes or somebody for 10 months. I've had numerous mentors and, it's been invaluable.
And finally, is there anything bullshit in business?
Oh, lots of it.
Any particular thing that we need to fix that's bullshit in business?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn.
It's bad.
Look, I use LinkedIn, and my mission for 2025 is not using LinkedIn. Right, we've got ourselves into a bullshit arms race. Right. You've got kids on there, 25 with a cat back, getting out of a rented Lamborghini as if they're some authority. And nowadays, if you think about LinkedIn, not only have you got to be good at writing, you've got to be good at photography, you've got to be photogenic, you've got to be... And we're playing this algorithm. It rewards bad behavior. And I think we need to get back to rewarding good behavior.
Yeah, well said. I wonder too whether the AI is going to do it all for me anyway. It's just going to listen to me and then just post my fucking life because apparently I need to tell people about it. Right, we're going to just have a bit of fun now to end.
Good.
I'm going to ask you some quick questions. You should know the answer to them. Dee's cueing some music. Just answer quickly.
Go.
What was your first job?
I was worked in a computer game shop in the Arndale in Manchester.
Okay, yeah, definite computer game fan. And what was your worst job?
I was a window cleaner. I lasted 3 hours.
Oof, cold.
No, it was lifting up those ladders, those tri-ply ladders, and it's just like I'm not built like that.
Favorite subject at school?
Physics. And I'll tell you the reason why. It was Mr. Lawrence, the teacher, and he used to go on a ramble, and he taught me everything that I need to know about storytelling.
Wow, big up Mr. Lawrence. I wonder if he's still alive.
No, he's not. I tried tracking him down.
Oh, good teachers, they're magic.
Amazing.
What's your special skill?
Giving people hope. Like, genuinely. You go and give me... that's what I do. I give people hope, and I give people the belief that they can be better.
Yeah, that's magic. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Car salesman.
Did you really?
Ford car salesman. Once again, I'm a kid from Salford,
That's
Manchester.
the running I'm having the last 3 days as a Ford car salesman.
It's funny, but that was...
You need to hook me up.
That was as much of an aspiration that I could get as a 10-year-old kid from Salford. That was as good, to get a Sierra and to wear a suit.
Yeah, wow. What did your parents want you to be?
Happy.
Yeah. And what's your go-to karaoke song, Brad?
Walk This Way, Run DMC.
Nice. Are you a hip-hop fan?
Big time.
Nice.
Oh, original. I'm talking 88 all the way through.
Yeah, wow, okay, we'll have to talk hip-hop. Give me a favourite rapper or two.
DMX.
Okay, he's an energy man.
Energy. DMX, Big Daddy Kane.
Big Daddy Kane, man. DMX, they always talk about his energy,
My favourite song is Party Up.
Party Up. Office dogs, business or bullshit?
Listen, what works for you? See, the thing is, once again, no, but I've got two. I've got Labradoodles, and it's like, if it works for you, great.
It doesn't work for me today. Fucking opening the door every 10 minutes.
Yeah, get that one. Please let me out. I need to come back in.
Oh, my God. In winter, just praying for it to get warmer. I'm sure he is too, But
you know what? None of us are getting out of this alive. And actually, one day, you're not going to have a dog. You're going to wish that you had time.
Oh, I know. Yeah, so true. Have you ever been fired, Brad?
Yes.
Oh, where'd you get fired?
I was a journalist at a computer games reviewer, and I got fired and made redundancy. In fact, I've been fired 3 times, I think.
Okay. That sounds like a good job otherwise.
It was.
But, you know. And what's your vice?
Computer games. Computer games. And
Are you into Fortnite and stuff?
No. I love computer games. Computer games are my passion, genuinely. And I think there's something I've learned so much about being a business owner. And I think that's probably why I've been quite good, methodical. What do I need to do here to get this side quest or this main quest done?
What's your favorite game then?
Of all time?
Tough choice.
No, Wildlands, you're a squad of special forces Americans going in to take the cartel down behind Colombia.
Wow.
And
is it recent or very old?
2017, but you feel special forces, like Tango Down and night vision goggles. Just a fascinating game. Honestly, I think that's to be a special forces. It's as near as I've ever got to being a SAS man.
On that bombshell, Brad, thank you very much. You've been great. I really appreciate your honesty, and all the thing you're trying to bring to the world. Let's be positive. That was this week's episode of Business Without Bullshit. Thanks, Dee. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Romeo. And we'll be back next Wednesday. And until then, it's ciao.